My name's Adrian Moody. I'm the director of Bishop Mackenzie International School, and I've been here 3 years. Bishop Mackenzie is a very well-known school internationally, so I've known about the school for some time. I'm also aware about Malawi. It's well known to be a beautiful, peaceful country. When I was in the process of actually interviewing for Bishop Mackenzie, I was talking to other schools as well. And what I noticed was that Bishop Mackenzie stood out. Talking to the people, talking to teachers, talking to board members, talking to some of the faculty and the administration, there was a very real sense of friendliness and community in the school. Lots of schools talk about their community, but this school has a very, very strong community, and so I was immediately attracted to come to this school. I remember my first day very clearly. I was actually came to the school a little bit late because I was having trouble getting a visa, and I arrived at the school I think a week in, and immedely I went to a board meeting. So I got off the plane and went to my first board meeting. So I sort of hit the ground running. I think it would be fair to say I've been doing that running ever since. Nick Bishop had been at the school for I think 7 or 8 years, and Brian Allen then took over, and he was at the school for 1 year, and then I took over.
Did you feel like a pressure on you, like there was a lot of weight on your shoulders to do this job?
I think being a director, there's always a lot of weight on your shoulders. You come into a school, and I had been talking to people remotely because it was COVID, and so I hadn't visited the school. And so you come into a school, and it's only when you're actually here that you get a sense of what the school is like, and then you need to figure out, okay, what are the next steps? How are we going to improve the school? What direction are we going to go?
So you began while COVID was still like at its peak and during the pandemic?
COVID had been going on since obviously 2020. I started in 2021. I remember the very first conversation that I had at the board meeting, which was whether or not the school was going to start face-to-face, because it had been online. And we decided at that time that we would start face-to-face. We obviously had a lot of COVID restrictions, but we felt it was really important to bring the community back together. Bishop has every school that you go into has a certain character. And you can normally tell a lot about the school within the first 5 minutes of actually coming into the school. What makes this school very different are the people in the school. There's a lot of care that teachers have for the students, but there's a lot of care that the students have for each other. What I noticed about the school was that the students, in many other schools, students were only mixed with their year group, but in this school, all the students mixed with all the others, and so there's a very strong sense of belonging in the school and a great sense of acceptance. And I've noticed that when we have new students come in, how easily they form relationships with other students. So we talk about community, and that community is very strong at all levels.
I used to be a student here. I think I mentioned I graduated in 2014, and that was very true when I was here as well. That, yeah, you felt like, I think also because of the clubs and the activities, because I did MUN, I felt like I bonded with students in other classes, so now I didn't feel like I had to only hang out with the people in my class.
You know, one of the things that COVID did was, because we all had to have bubbles, it stopped the students from one year level mixing with the students of another year level. And so that was kind of different for the school. You know, it's sort of, the school was there, but it wasn't together like it had always been. And what I've noticed over the 3 years, as we've gradually moved away from all those restrictions, is the way that the students do mix with each other. It's a really positive part of the school. When I first came, I would stand in the car park and talk to parents, or I'd go into staff meetings. I remember in my very first staff meeting, I said to the staff, you know, what is good about what's good about Bishop Mackenzie? What does Bishop Mackenzie do well? And the staff and the parents all said the same thing. They said, Bishop Mackenzie is a good school. And then I would say, okay, so what could the school do better? And they all said, well, we want it to be a great school. And then I would say, well, what does that mean? And people found it very hard to articulate what it meant to go from being a good school to a great school. And so what we've done over the last few years is we've had that conversation. What does it mean to be a great school? What does that look like? And so what that's led to is we've changed the mission of the school from something that wasn't well understood to something that is very much part of what the school is. We talk about diversity and community, and we talk about joyful learning environments, and we talk about inclusion and sustainability. And so what we've been able to do is to very clearly articulate who we are as a school and what we aspire to. And so that's a major change in the school, because we are very much a mission-driven school. It means that everything that we do is dependent upon what our mission is. So we seek to be inclusive, we seek to be diverse. And so that's a major change. Being able to understand who you are and where you want to be is a really important part of being a school. And that's led us to develop a strategic plan where we have aspirations going, for the next 5 years. Where are we going and what do we want to be? And so major change for us is recognising our identity and how that affects us on a day-to-day level.
Yeah, even in the research that we've been doing so far, you can kind of see how the diversity of the school has always been on an increase. And I see it even more now. And I was looking at the reception and the words that you have written there, and a lot of it looked new from the time that I had left.
Yeah.
So I see those changes as well.
Well, that's our new mission, and you'll notice that the logo has changed, reflecting what the logo used to look like, but we've modernised it. The three faces looking forward and looking up, and the different, the diversity is reflected in that logo. It's very much, this is who we are, and this is what we want to be.
Yeah. Why is the 80th anniversary so important?
It's a milestone for the school. We recognise that we've been here for 80 years. We started as a very small classroom, I think, at the golf course, and the school has developed and changed over the years. We mark these milestones because we're just passing through. I'm here at this time, the faculty are here at this time, and what we are doing with the school is understanding where we've been and how we've changed, but we are also moving into the future. And so we have a responsibility to develop the school. We have a responsibility to take the school from where it was and what was important about the school, and we take it into the future. We're stewards, and we're just passing through. But the 80th is a milestone, and it's time that we sort of sit back and we say, okay, this is where we are, this is where we've been, and this is where we're going. Everyone leaves a mark as they go through the school, and the school leaves a mark on the people who go to the school. So this is a celebration. This is a time where we actively think about who we are. And I keep on saying to all my staff, about stewardship, the fact that we're just passing through, but the school leaves a mark on us as we leave a mark on the school. I like the way that we celebrate things. I think about the sports events that we have. When the community comes onto the campus and they watch their kids play rugby or football, but the community comes together. We have Music Under the Stars. We have International Day. We have all these different celebrations, and it's when the parents come onto the school, they mix with each other, and there's a lot of joy. Graduations are always really important. You can see how the school has affected the students when they graduate and how sad they are, even though that it's time for them to go, even though it's time for them to go on to that next step. But they're sad about leaving because the school means so much to them. So I think it's the way that we celebrate. These are the things that I really enjoy here. Challenges, change, implementing change. We've done a lot in 3 years in terms of the structure of the school, in terms of the organisation of the school, in terms of ensuring that the finances, that the school is financially stable. And to do that, we've made a lot of changes. And implementing change, I think, is always one of the more difficult challenges that staff and a director faces. You know, there's a lot that happens in 3 years in the school. Yesterday, we had a staff party for the support and operational staff, and I really enjoy those things. You know, it was a celebration. It was actually, you know, we had a braai and to thank the staff for all the work that they've done over the holidays. And the teachers are not here at the moment, so this is just the support and operational staff, and they get together and they have a really good time, and you know, they put on music and they dance, and it's, you know, it's being part of Malawi. I really enjoy those days, and once again, it's all about being a community, you know, supporting staff, supporting each other. I think that's a really important part of this place. The school's diverse in lots of different ways. In terms of nationalities, certainly diverse. We have 50 different nationalities. We're an international school in Malawi, and that is very much part of who we are. So we have a lot of different cultures. But our students are very forthright in the way that they think about things. And so you have a diversity of opinion, you've got a diversity of background, and I think that's what really makes a school truly international. It's very easy to call yourself an international school, but it's that different cultures, nationalities, opinions, bringing it in and, you know, challenging our students and our staff on a day-to-day basis. I think that diversity is so very much important.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think it's also very intentional about making students think about where they're from, their identities. Especially as a Malawian who went to the school, when you're a Malawian in Malawi, you don't usually think of your nationality because you're here, you're home. I think you think about it more when you leave. So when I was here, and the first time I had International Day, and they said, like, bring your cultural foods, wear your cultural wear. Those are the first times I was actually thinking about, oh, my culture, what is my culture? What is the food that we eat? I think that was really important.
Yeah, you know, we intentionally live the diversity. You know, if you look at our faculty, for instance, we've got people from Malawi, we've got people from different parts of Africa, we've got people from the UK, of course, and the USA, New Zealand, Australia, and Jamaica this year. We intentionally try to get people from different parts of the world because they all have different experiences which they bring to the school. One of the challenges of being the director is constant improvement. Looking at everything that we do and thinking, okay, how can we do this better? We're about to go through an accreditation process with CIS and the ASC and the IB, and we've spent the last year looking at all the systems that we have in place, looking at our curriculum, looking at the way that we support our students, looking at the well-being of our students, but also of our faculty. And we keep on asking the question, how can we be doing this better? The school is changing. It's not only changing in terms of its infrastructure and its programs, but it's changing in the way that we support and give opportunities to our students. I mentioned we have a strategic plan, so we have a vision, so saying, okay, where do we want to be in 5 years' time? and it covers a whole range of things: inclusion, diversity. It includes quality, high quality learning, well-being. We have a very definite vision of how we want to be and where we want to be. I would like to invite everyone to come and visit the school. I've met people, when I've been around Malawi, I was down in Rwanda last weekend and I met an alumni who was a ranger, and he graduated I think in 2014, so it might have been around your time, and he hadn't been back to the school, and I said, well, we've got an anniversary coming up, you must come back. And I'd like to encourage all past parents of students, all the past students, to come and see the school. It's a beautiful school, and I think that there is much to be proud of. So this is an open invitation for everyone to return.